what's up? Okay, so I'm Cynthia. This is a video of story of a life. Still in my teenage years, as my last video was my teenage years, but like the first. So, I guess you're a teenager at 13, huh? Okay, so my first. So up until my first year in high school was in my last video, okay, which took place in Mexico. After which, I failed ninth grade in Mexico because I struggled to to understand the literature and the books in my classes. So for my sophomore year, my mom sent me and my sister Michelle, my younger sister Michelle, to Arizona to live with my tia, her sister, so that we can go to school. As far as I know, I don't know if there was other reasons for that, like specifically because I failed. I said failed. Because I failed ninth grade. I said it again. Oh my goodness. So, okay. I mentioned in this video, in my last video, that my tia was really bitter back in the day. And this was during that time. And my tia had a lot of resentment towards my mom, whom I look a lot like. Okay, and I feel like I reminded her so much of my mom. She mistreated me. She was really mean to me, okay? She always had distrust in me. And I was a good kid. I didn't, go and hang out places after school. I really didn't have, I had friends at school whom I loved very much and, who brought out things in me that I didn't, okay, so in Mexico in my ninth grade, I discovered how good I was at math, at understanding it. But when I was in my sophomore year in Buckeye, Arizona, I knew how good I was at math, okay? Me and this other girl who I cared for very much. So smart, both of us. And we were always laughing, man. And just making each other laugh. It was a great year for me, considering how I was treated at home. For no fault of my own, okay? My sister was always popular. She's a tiny little girl and she's so outgoing. And she was a cheerleader. She was a softball player, volleyball, not volleyball, yeah, something. She was in several sports, okay? Including cheerleading. She was very popular. And she was never home. She was always out doing things, okay? She was good, but she was more rebellious than I was. I don't know what she was doing and stuff. There was this one time. This did not happen in my sophomore year. This happened in my. I don't remember much of my sophomore year. It was very, forgettable. I just remember my friend in school and friends. She was the only one that I really. She's the one I think of most because what I remember most about my sophomore year was how much I learned, or the fact I remember most of my sophomore year is the feeling that I felt for the love of learning. Okay. I don't recall how well I did in school that year, but I know that my science teacher, who was really it was really being a teenager in high school and you go into her class, you really she was really strong. She didn't play around, okay? But she liked me. She really liked me, and I loved her because I learned a lot from her. Like when I was in her class is when I truly like. I think it was when I first learned about photosynthesis, and I like understood it very well. And I mean, I love photosynthesis, and it was, the process of photosynthesizing gives me the feeling that green is the color of love, which I've over time in the recent years I've come to learn, or that feeling has become stronger, and because of things that I have learned that don't really have anything to do with that, but other things. For example, heart chakra is the color green. Chlorophyll, I believe, is like, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't read anything about chlorophyll. I just know that it's good for your like health, and it has a lot of benefits, and it's like green, isn't it? I don't know. I might be wrong. I could totally be wrong. Anyways, move on to my junior year. I ended up going back to Mexico for some reason. I don't remember why, but I did. And when I went back, I lived with my grandma. My mom had moved from Costa Rica, which I mentioned in my second video at the beginning, which is a small town outside of Culiacan, the capital of Sinaloa. My mom eventually moved. She moved while we were in Arizona, me and my sister. But when we went back to Mexico, I did not go live with my mom. I stayed in Costa Rica. My mom moved to Mazatlan, Sinaloa, next to the beach, 2 hours away. My sister went to go live with her, and I went to go live with my grandma, which was a great experience. I was so free. I had a lot of freedom, and I didn't go to school. I didn't have to work, but I did work. My uncle and his wife moved in with us, and it was great. I went to work with my uncle and his wife, and we were all able to maintain the jobs. This is like my first job and shit, and my uncle and his wife are like nomads, or yeah, I guess that's the best word for them. They were nomads, so they moved around a lot, and they had just come back from Cabo, California, so Baja California, way up north in Mexico. So, and when they lived up there, they lived it like they were part of a circus, so they were really cool. And my uncle was very protective, and and his wife was just like my best friend. She was really cool. She was cool as fuck. She was protective too, but she was really cool. She was crazy and funny, and just she really she was really a good friend to me. And so something I remember a lot about that time is the hammock that was in our front yard that I spent a lot of time on, and that I felt really peaceful and fulfilled in when I laid in it. Like life was good, for no like specific reason. It was just good. And it was during this time that I met somebody, a boyfriend, who I had gone to school with in my freshman year, who I never talked to. And, before him and I started talking like that, I don't know what I was doing, but I was like I must have been looking in the mirror or something, because I noticed that I have uh, like a, two birthmarks right here. So there's one right here, and there's another one somewhere up here. Oh, there they are. And I remember thinking to myself, and I said out loud, for no reason, okay? I didn't know anything about anything. I had just noticed them and I really liked them. And I thought to myself, and I said out loud in that moment, the person who notices or says anything about my two little birthmarks here is gonna be my next love. And he did that. He did that shit. And I was like, I didn't. That's not why we ended up being together or anything. We already liked each other, but he said that. And I knew that I loved him before he said that. I didn't say it first, he did, but I knew that I loved him, okay? Okay, so I'll tell you when he said it. This is not PG-13. I guess, I mean, there's no graphic details or anything, but we went to go hang out one time. And you know what I really liked about him is that we could smoke weed. Okay, so in Mexico, being a girl and smoking weed is not like normal. You're seen as a drug addict if you smoke weed. Period. Let alone being a woman. And at that time, I don't know how it is now, but back in that day, wearing basketball shorts in Mexico was considered being a cholo. Okay, that's crazy. That's just so. What I really liked about this guy is that I could smoke weed and together we would smoke weed together. We did that. And there was this one time that we went to go hang out, and we had only had sex like 2 or 3 times, and it was late at night, and we were into like this empty baseball field. And we were on the bleachers, and we were kissing and stuff, and then one thing led to another, and I just pulled my pants down and stuff happened, and he said he loved me. That's when he said he loved me. Oh shit. So you know I don't remember if I moved to go live with my mom or if I left to go to back to Arizona. I think I left to go live with my mom, 2 hours away. And I remember, God, I got it. Oh my God, you know what it's like to be in love and young, and then life circumstances separates you and you have to say goodbye. That shit sucked, okay? I remember thinking to myself, I would always love him. I don't love him anymore, okay? And thinking about him doesn't give me any feelings. To an extent, it did, actually. Like, up until 8 years ago, I still kind of held some sort of feeling for him. Just beautiful memories, I guess. I don't consider them so beautiful anymore, but and I forget. I mean, I don't remember them as well as other things because all the things that have happened in my life since have been drastically more important or major, like children, other things that I'll get to eventually. Anyways, I went to go live with my mom at some point for some reason. And nothing really eventful that I would like want to talk about really happened there. Uh, I mean, yeah, but I guess so. Okay, so yeah, maybe there is something because it's like in my mind, and I look like so young right now. What the fuck? And anyways, so there was this one time I had just gotten a job, my first job, when I was living with my mom. I was like 16, and I was 15. What? No, I was 16. I think I was turning 17 or 18. I think I turned 18. Yeah. Um. Anyways, I was working one day, and then I worked all day. I came home, and there was like a candle outside of the front of our house on the street. Like, right there was a okay, so we lived on the second floor of a two-story house. Um and we had access to the roof because there was a staircase that led from the inside of our house, a staircase that led up to our the top, the second floor, and then when you walked in, there was another staircase that went up to the roof. And then on the outside, there was a gate. Well, right outside this gate, where you walk in, there was blood on the ground, and there was a candle lit next to it. Excuse me. And it turns out that while I was at work, you know, on a regular day, children playing on the street, like my brother and my sister playing soccer on the street in front of our house with the neighbors, and other things going on, activities. There was this guy who ran into the street, running away from somebody who was chasing him in a truck, I think, with guns. He was running from the cartel. And he went and everybody ran inside and tried to hide and stuff. And apparently my brother tried to run into our front door neighbor's house, but they closed the door before he could get in. So he hid behind their car. And this guy went and hid right next to my brother. I haven't talked to my brother since, not since, about it since that happened. But the guy died. They killed him. I don't know if they found him right there where he was sitting next to my brother, or hiding where my brother was, and maybe pulled him out. I don't know, but that's something that happened. And okay, so that's that. Eventually, I turned 18, and my mom told me 2 days after, "I'm sending you back to Arizona." I told my mom, "I don't want to go to Arizona. My tia's gonna kick me out." I I was older, and I didn't know at the time. I did. I felt at the time that it was because she had resentment towards my mom, and it just reminded her too much of her. But she sent me and my sister back to Arizona to live with her. And I told my mom, I said, "Don't send me over there. I'm going to get kicked out." And she did. She sent us, like, real quick, soon after my birthday. And, we were there. I was a good kid. I was still a good kid. I was always home. I was never up to I was never getting into trouble. I was a good fucking kid. I didn't have this time. I did have friends, but I met these friends through my sister. These were my sister's friends that became my friends, and what we would do is just smoke weed, and that was about it. That in itself is a big deal. Especially because my tia was just not cool with it, she just was not. And but I never got in trouble. I never got in trouble for that up until I got kicked out, which was okay. So and it was December. Okay, it was cold. It was really cold that winter, and we lived in a two-story house, and my tia was upstairs watching a movie. That was a regular thing. I was downstairs washing the dishes. It was 9 at night. And my sister comes down as I'm done washing the dishes. And I'm not wearing shoes or a sweater or anything because you know, I was washing dishes. I was at home. I wasn't gonna do anything. And she comes down and she tells me that somebody she likes, like she was crushing on at the time, was gonna come with their cousin to come and drop off her sweater. And she didn't want to go out there alone. So I went out there with her like a dumbass, and she was just as aware as I was how dangerous it was for us to be out there, considering if my tia found out, she would fucking lose it. So we were both like on alert. Me more so.